the Content Bite with Lynn and Rachel.
Hello, this is the podcast for people who use their words and freelancers. Mm-hmm. And as Lynn just mentioned, we are your hosts. I just wanted to say we were like flying the plane or something. I had this weird vibe that we were like, anyway.
Being pilots.
I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah. But just to give you a bit of an introduction about us, I'm Rachel Smith. I'm the founder of Rachel's List, a jobs board for creatives, and I'm also a journalist and copywriter.
And I'm Lynn Testoni, and I'm a content creator and a writer working for magazines as well as corporate clients.
Yes, and we are very pleased to have you listening today or tonight or
wherever you are, in the car.
Wherever you happen to be. Today we're talking about a really interesting one for freelancers, getting a retainer.
A retainer,
which
exactly.
Many of us think is the holy grail.
It is.
Is it the holy grail?
I think it's great. A retainer agreement is basically where you provide a certain amount of services for a certain amount of money per month. And sometimes
or a certain amount of hours, like an hour's bank or something like that.
Yeah. I have one retainer and I love it because it just gives me a guaranteed income, guaranteed workload. Sometimes I do all the work in 1 week, sometimes I spread it over a month, and I find it really helps just to give me that security, which is always good as a freelancer.
I know, I'm the same. I absolutely love having 1 or 2 retainer clients. And I think that, in all the advice that I've given freelancers who are, actually moving from an in-house role into, the freelance world, we all also call them obviously regular gigs, but a retainer actually, structures the agreement, I suppose. If you can get a regular gig and you know that you've got that portion of your income covered every month, it's just so great. It really can help you relax, and that can help you find other clients. And if you don't find other clients, you at least know that some of your costs are covered and you're going to be okay. So
exactly.
Yeah.
One of the websites I quite like, or Facebook groups, is Jennifer Gregory's, and she's great, and she calls them anchor clients, which is basically something that anchors your income, and you have a guaranteed income that month, and she feels it takes the pressure off. Also, if you've got a good guarantee, you don't tend to take the really horrible short paying panic jobs.
No, because you don't have to.
Yeah.
You know that some of your costs are covered, so you're okay, and you can actually go and chase those high-paying clients, which is fantastic. We actually had a really great retainer post written by Steve Colquhoun, a Rachel's List member.
Yep.
So that's a fantastic one to check out on the blog. I think it's called Your Essential Guide to Retainers or something. Just search.
It was really popular too. People talked about it a lot.
So that's got lots of info. We're just going to cover off on just some key points about retainers, what you need in a retainer contract or agreement, and our kind of experience with retainers, how we structure them for our own clients, what we think is important. I think with any agreement as a freelancer, you live and learn, don't you? You can make mistakes, and then you kind of change your terms with the next client, so because there'll invariably be loopholes or traps that you can walk into where you can lose.
Well, somebody
money.
asked a question, so that's what my current agreement or contract has been an evolution since. Each time I've added a few clauses when people have asked about it. Yeah. So I guess the key question with retainers is whether you discount in return for work. What do you think?
I do discount. I think when I first started doing retainers, my discount was too high.
Yes.
And I remember actually Beck Lambert in the Freelance Jungle was talking about how much to discount and stuff in one of her posts. It was quite a while ago, but it made me think, whoops, maybe whatever I was doing was just ridiculous.
Just for a guaranteed income, you don't have to cut your rate in half.
No, you don't, no. And you shouldn't actually. I would basically try for 5%. I think that's pretty fair. And something that you want to do, so it can be a way to sweeten the deal, if you want them to sign you up on a retainer. Also, what kind of clients do you want to ask? In what situation would you propose a retainer, I suppose, Lynn?
Well, I find it really good with one of my corporate clients, and that's my basic retainer. Now, I don't discount, but I offer them things that I don't offer my other clients. So one of the things I do with them is I have a regular fortnightly whip. So I go through all the jobs that we're doing. I give them a bit of strategy. I organise photo shoots, and I usually go to photo shoots when they're in Sydney and help direct them. So that's sort of extra time, but they pay my standard article rate for all the articles I write for them.
And this is a set amount every month.
It's a set amount, and it's guaranteed three pieces a month I do for them. And if they ask for any more, which sometimes they do, I charge them my regular rate on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so is that something you have a contract with them for?
I do. It's a 12-month agreement.
Okay.
So I got agreement for a whole year, which was great for me. It meant I didn't have to sort of get all those extra jobs. And for them, it was really good because it's a corporate and they do it with their financial year and they budget me in. They give me a purchase order that covers the whole year and their budget's done.
And do they pay you per month?
They pay me per month. I invoice in advance on the first of the month for that whole subsequent month.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. So that's a really important point. You want those agreed deliverables in a retainer agreement, and that could be either 3 blog posts, 12 social posts, an EDM, and that could be your agreed deliverables that you do per month. You set a price for that package of work. They pay you in advance. And you have a contract basically to cover both parties. Yeah. So that's one way of doing it, where they want a certain amount of work done. They know what needs to be done, and that's the form of your retainer. Or the other way that retainers can work, and this has happened with quite a few clients of mine, they will want to pay for a bank of my time.
10 hours a month.
10 hours a month. They prepay for that bank of time, and then I keep an eye on the hours and they just throw work at me when they need it. So it might be, can you write this LinkedIn post for me, or can you do this brochure copy, or can you edit my white paper or whatever. And then when those hours are gone, they just either buy more or
wait till next month.
Yeah,
whatever.
But that was not like a structured monthly one. It was more like a buy the bank and then they would prepay for that. But in a retainer, that's a really good question. Like if it's an hourly sort of situation where they bought a bank of hours every month, what's the protocol? Do you roll over the hours that they don't use? I tend to think you don't, because it basically forces the client to pull their finger out, be organised, get you what you need in order to fulfil the agreement. But if you're constantly rolling hours over, it can get very messy, and then you feel ripped off. And
you've got to make that clear at the beginning. And I think it depends how much work and how many hours. With my client that I do the 3 blog posts, the idea is if I don't, for whatever reason, do 3 a month, I actually then roll it into the next month. But to be honest, I've never done that because it's always managed to do. I guess we'll see how it goes, but it's not been an issue. But I have a couple of times they've asked me to do extra, and I've said, we're already at the 3 articles a month. Do you want to pay for this one, or do you want to roll it into next month? And sometimes they pay, sometimes they roll it in.
Yep.
They have a look at their budgets.
Yep. Okay. So we need to talk about the rate that you set as a retainer. We've talked a little bit about how you take the 5% off. But is it your normal hourly rate, or how do we package stuff for retainers?
I think an hourly rate, and you need to. We talked, I think in the first or second episode when we talked about money, we actually talked about your internal rate. So, and it's not like, I would say it'd be pretty rare to be less than $80 an hour if you had to put a number on it.
Yeah.
Because it's an opportunity cost. So if you're not working for them, you're turning down other work.
Yeah.
So at least, I'll be saying your minimum rate.
Yeah.
And an hourly rate works if it's lots of bitsy pieces.
Yeah. And the way that you would quote for that retainer is ideally you could break it down and tell them exactly what it's costing them per hour for all that stuff, but I wouldn't. I would actually package everything and give them a project cost for that.
Yes,
and say per month this is going to cost you $2,500, or that kind of thing. Rather
agencies tend to prefer, if you work on a retainer with an agency, they tend to prefer an hourly rate because that's usually it's all about billable hours. But with a direct client, usually it's about projects. Yeah.
I think that's a better way to do it.
And have exit clauses.
I think this is the tricky one. Well, you've got a great setup with the 12.
Yeah.
What happened? How did you negotiate if they suddenly decide to pull out?
Well, I started doing projects with them, and then they liked it, and then they wanted to sort of, basically they were doing their budgets and they wanted to lock me down for the next 12 months and get a program, and that worked really well for me.
So awesome. Yeah. I need clients that lock me down for 12 months.
But I do have another client that I'm on a retainer for, doing social media for him. Mm-hmm. And it's not as big a project. It's only a couple of posts a week, so it's pretty small. And we've just I did a 3-month initial contract, and then we'll see, and then reevaluate. Yeah, and that's working okay.
I think that also we're just going to step back a little bit, because we talked about the kinds of clients that you can approach about getting a retainer. So if you find that you're working for a client regularly and you're doing a lot of the same stuff over and over, it can be a really great thing to suggest a retainer to them, in the sense of, I'm going to be prioritising your work above other clients, because, we'll be locked into this agreement and you get that 5% discount. It could be...
You can also say that you are really busy and you love working for them, and if they're going to continue to give you this amount of work, you're happy to sort of schedule your time around their needs. Yeah. And that's a nice thing for them. Yeah. That's the other thing we didn't mention about retainer agreements. It actually makes you part of their team in a nice way. You're still a freelancer, but it tends to make you more involved in their strategy. And they tell you, if you're there working with them for a long time, they say what they're trying to achieve. They often share internal analytics, so they might be saying, these posts you're writing are doing really well, so you can come up with new ideas, and you often get better feedback. It's a nice thing.
Yep. I think we should talk though about exit clauses and early termination and things like that. Like, what happens if you're in a lovely retainer for 6 months, suddenly the company, is losing money, they start to ditch all their freelancers, and they say to you, we won't be needing you from next week, but you're on retainer. And
you usually ask for, I have a month's notice, because I'm paid in advance too.
But what if it's a 3-month agreement where that's in your terms? If you want, they have to pay you out.
They have to pay you out.
Yep. Okay.
That doesn't happen. Although one of my clients, the whole marketing team was amalgamated into another, and they all my original contact was made redundant. I just talk to them, do you want to continue? You're already paid this month, and let's have a look at it. And I just sent them over the agreement, and they were fine to keep honouring it. Yep. And in fact, I think I get extra work now because there's less people there.
Well, we're going over time, but we're just going to quickly race and say other things that you might want to include in a retainer agreement include disaster contingency. So if you're in PR, something goes horribly wrong for the client, you need to do damage control and jump on. Is there a clause in there that covers you, protects you, ensures that you're getting paid for extra hours. And you also, although retainers are great, you also want to make sure you have other clients. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket,
because
so to speak.
Things change.
Marketing
managers change, industries change, things, all the time.
Yeah, and you can, a retainer doesn't necessarily mean that you're safe forevermore with that one client and that lovely money coming in.
Yes.
But we are going to skedaddle because we've gone over time. But we do want
special offer.
We do have a special offer. If you wanted to grab the retainer agreement on Rachel's list in the toolkit, we're giving you 50% off this week. So just use the code retainer50, and that you can snap that up and you can
somebody else
modify
has done the whole hard work for you.
The hard work. There's instructions in it, and you can modify it for your clients and send it off. And it might be an easy way to grab a retainer client.
Yes.
So enjoy.
So you've been listening to the Content Bite with Lynn and Rachel.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.